You know, in our professional lives, we spend so much time thinking about what we're going to say next. But what about the other half of that equation? We're talking about active listening. It might sound basic, but trust me, mastering it is an absolute game changer. It can stop huge misunderstandings in their tracks and build some serious trust. So let's dive in. So let me just ask you, straight up, are you a good listener? I mean, a really good listener? It's a simple question, right? And most of us, if we're honest, would probably say, yeah, sure. But what if there's a little bit of a gap between how we think we listen and how we actually do?
And that really gets to the heart of the matter. See, there's a huge difference between hearing and listening. Hearing's passive. It's just sound waves hitting your ears. You can't help it. But listening, oh, that's a whole different ballgame. That's an active, conscious skill. It's a choice to focus and to really understand the meaning behind the words.
So what is active listening, really? Well, you can boil it down to three key parts. First, you're paying full, undivided attention. Second, you're working to understand the entire message, not just bits and pieces. And third, and this is so crucial, you show the other person that you get it. If you can nail this, you're not just going to avoid major mistakes, you're going to build some incredible trust along the way.
Okay, so the very first skill, the foundation of being a great listener, is all about cutting through the clutter. It's about finding what truly matters in a conversation. It's learning how to decode that core message.
Think about it. Just about every conversation has a main idea. That one single point the speaker really wants you to walk away with. It's the so what of their entire message. And your first job as an active listener is to hunt for that one key point. And then, of course, you've got the details. These are all the other little pieces of information, the context, the stories, the examples that kind of flesh out that main idea. And don't get me wrong, they're important, but they aren't the main event. A really great way to picture this is with a pyramid. That main idea, that's the single block right at the very top. And all the details, well, they're the solid base underneath, holding the whole thing up. A great listener learns to see the entire pyramid, not just a random pile of bricks. So how can you be sure you've actually found that main idea? Well, you can use a super simple phrase just like this one. And the beauty of it is that it's not aggressive or confrontational at all. It's collaborative. You're just saying, hey, let's make sure we're on the same page. And you give them a chance to say, yep, you got it, or to correct you.
All right, finding the main idea is step one. But the next step is all about confirming that you actually understood it correctly. I love this subtitle, the measure twice, cut once of conversation. That's exactly what it is. It's that crucial quality control check that makes sure you're both on the same page before you move on.
And this is where we need to get a little specific, because there's a really big difference between clarifying and checking. Clarifying is what you do when you are genuinely unsure about something. You need more info. Checking, on the other hand, is for when you're mostly sure you get it, you just want that final confirmation. They're two different tools for two different jobs.
Now, when you do need to clarify something, how you do it really matters. First off, ask as soon as you get confused. Don't wait. And be specific. Ask about one thing at a time. But most importantly, the tone is everything. You want it to sound like, hey, could you help me understand, not, you're not making any sense. That little shift changes everything. Here is a fantastic go-to clarifying starter. It's perfect because it's super polite, it zeroes in on exactly what you're confused about, and it invites the other person to just give you a little more detail without putting them on the defensive.
And for checking, this is your classic move. You're basically playing back your understanding of what they said, and then you just hand it right back to them to get that final, yep, you got it. So simple, but so incredibly effective at stopping miscommunication before it starts.
Okay, so far we've been all about making sure we understand the message. But active listening is a two-way street. You also have to show the other person that you're tuned in, that you're with them. This is where you build real, solid connection.
And signal phrases are your best friend here. Honestly, think of them like the little head nods of a conversation. They're the verbal cues, the traffic signals that tell the speaker, yep, green light, keep on going, I'm right there with you. And it can be incredibly simple. Just a quick, that makes sense, is huge. Things like, I see, right, or I get it. They might seem like small throwaway words, but they send a massive signal that you are engaged in actually processing what's being said.
All right, now for one of the most powerful tools in the entire active listening toolkit, paraphrasing. And this is way more than just repeating what someone said like a parrot. This is about really taking in their message, running it through your own brain, and then articulating it back in your own words.
And a great way to kick off a paraphrase is with a phrase just like this one. When you do this, you're proving two things at the exact same time. One, that you were actually paying attention, and two, that you understood it well enough to explain it yourself. That's a huge trust builder.
Okay, so once you start to get comfortable with the basics, you can begin to level up with a more advanced technique. And that is probing. This is the art of skillfully uncovering what's really going on beneath the surface of a conversation.
And it's really important we don't mix this up with clarifying. Remember, clarifying is about what they already said. Probing, that's about digging for what they haven't said yet. It's for those moments when you just get a feeling that there's more to the story, and you want to gently encourage them to share a bit more.
But you have to be careful here. It's an art, not an interrogation. So you want to listen for those little clues. Maybe they use some vague language, or you hear a little hesitation in their voice. Your questions have to come from a place of genuine curiosity, not skepticism. And of course, you've got to know when to pull back.
This right here is an absolutely brilliant probing question. It's perfect because it's so open and non-judgmental. You're basically just inviting them to tell you a story, to explain their thought process from start to finish. It shows you really want to understand their perspective.
And that brings us to what might be the single most important point of this whole thing. Look, nobody is born a perfect listener. It is not some magical talent that some people have and some people don't. It's a skill, just like playing the guitar or learning to cook. It is something you have to practice to get good at.
So, here's my challenge to you. Don't feel like you have to go out and master all of this overnight. Just pick one thing. In your very next conversation, what's it going to be? Are you going to focus on finding the main idea? Or maybe just try a simple signal phrase? Or are you going to be brave and try paraphrasing? Just pick one, give it a try, and start building that skill today.